I want to talk about an issue that's been quietly frustrating players for quite a while now, and that issue would be the 4-star components for Raiden and Dinoking. Namely, the combiners themselves as 3 stars, they were released all the way back in November of 2024, and they as 4 stars they were released slowly throughout the events. We had 3 events in total, and each gave 2 components. So basically, if you cleared all 3 events, you were able to get your 4-star Raiden and Dinoking. However, if you missed out on them, well, tough luck. However, you know that there are options, right? So you can go to bundles, and occasionally they give you the 4-star components for a hefty price tag. Or you can get an entire combiner for an even more heftier price tag. However, usually if my memory serves me correctly, when they were coming out, developers claimed that the 4-star components would come to the shop as they usually do for such a piece of content. For example, every single type of content like that has certain parts that are robots themselves, but just parts, they come to the shop, right? Basically, we are able to go, you have a separate tab that you can just get them, and they usually cost shards. So if it's a 3-star component, it costs 3-star shards. If it's a 4-star component, it costs 4-star shards. If it's a 5-star component, it costs 5-star shards, etc. Certain number of shards. So a lot of people were preparing for this, because in the usual time frame, the usual pattern is that such things come in April, at latest May. It's July already, 22nd of July, so we are nearing August, and there has been radio silence from the developers in regards to this issue. I asked many times, especially some of the community managers, some of the people that are on the development team that are there for relations between community and the team that's actually developing the game, and they unfortunately didn't have anything to tell me or any other of the players about this issue. So yeah, I wish to address it. Kind of maybe they forgot. It happens. Maybe they forgot. So I wish to remind them. Where are 4-star Raiden and Dinoking, right? Yeah, like all other previous pieces of content, Titans, Omega Supreme and Overlord, they were available to purchase with the shards, right? In Omega Supreme and Overlord's case, 2 of their components were in the Shanix store, and the 5-star piece was in the store for 5-star shards. So yeah, it's definitely very concerning, and between players, it feels, it builds kind of a distrust, because information, communicating things clearly, it costs nothing, but it builds everything. So when such thing is lacking, it definitely feels very discouraging to players. I know some players that started playing later, because they heard that Dinoking and Raiden were coming, especially Raiden, since he's a bit more popular from the people that I know. So they kind of wanted to get the bot, play with that combiner. But when they met, with a pretty hefty price tag, right? So basically, if you miss them all, a new player is not gonna pay this. Let's be real. It's a lot, and yeah. Like I said, there is a usual pattern that things are not being kept paywalled. There is a paywall option, not paywall. There is a paid option, because paywall assumes that there is no other, that it's vault behind the paywall, right? However, there were options where you could just buy it for money, like Omega Supreme and Overload 4-star component could have been bought for money. Or you could save up and buy it with the Shanix, for example. There were 2 options, paid and free-to-play option that takes patience. That's unfortunately not the case with Raiden and Dinoking. Like I said, there's only paid option if you missed an event, and like I said, there were only 3 events, each giving 2 components, 6 components in total. So if you missed one event, tough luck, So yeah, definitely something that's very important and should have been addressed. Like all the other players, I want this game to grow and succeed. But for that to happen, really, players just need to feel like they're heard. They need to feel like they're communicated to from the development team. We can't really have radio silence. That's really, again, that builds distrust. Lack of communication is a huge problem, not necessarily for the game, but for every aspect of life. no matter what you do, communication with other people is essential. So this definitely feels like a problem, and I hope that it will be addressed the sooner the better. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, a bit of a constructive criticism. So yeah, it's again, I felt like it needed to be said. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.